Okay, taking a quick break from my Halloween-inspired video watching to check out a little quick stand-up routine or bit of Regan or Regan. I don't want to say Regan, but it might be Reagan. I don't know. Anyway, you guys know who I'm talking about. I am a little familiar with his stuff. One year, my brother, when he was in town, he introduced my mother and I to some of his material, and I only have a vague memory of it. I think maybe one of the things I saw was something about a guy with a broken leg. Might have been some sort of bit about being in the emergency room or something like that. And I don't remember if there, and I'm pretty sure there was another one, but I don't remember what it was. I don't remember if it was the one about being in the airport or if it was something else. Honestly, don't know. So I went looking for something that I didn't think I'd seen before, and I had not seen this because I do not regularly watch Jimmy Fallon. This was apparently an appearance he had on Jimmy Fallon's show. I forgot to check the date. It must have been fairly recent-ish, as in it's not, 5, 10, or let's say 10 plus years old. It's not super, super old. And the reason that I was interested to check this out is because apparently he talks about being diagnosed with OCD. My son has those tendencies, and his is more of a thought type of OCD and not so much the physical, what's the word they call them? Like the, you guys know what I mean, like where sometimes they have to just, routinely wash their hands or, routinely do certain, the word is not coming to me, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And people make jokes a lot, about being so OCD and everything. And of course, that doesn't necessarily mean someone's OCD just because they have a certain hang up about something or whatever, because, we just tend to throw around terms like that pretty lightly. Anyway, I wanted to see what sort of hilarious comedic spin he's going to put on this fairly serious subject matter, which a lot of times people do make comedic references to, like anything in life, right? So let's just see what he's got to say. I'm curious to find out. Oh, sorry if that's messing with the mic. Okay, here we go.
Thank you. Wow, that is tremendously nice. Thank you very much. Well, happy Thanksgiving. All right. Well, I will share this with you. I suffer from OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. Ah, thank you. Suffer. That word is overused, don't you think? I think the term suffer should be reserved for people writhing in agony on the ground. They're suffering. Am I allowed to run up to them? You're preaching to the choir!
Right.
I have to alphabetize everything! Oh. Quit wriggling around! I'm trying to count your ribs!
No.
The alphabetizing thing is not true, at least in my case. People think I'm weirder than I am, and it's hard for me, Like they ask questions like, Brian, with your OCD, do you have to alphabetize your books at home? And I'm like, no. I organize my books by when I got them chronologically on the top shelf. I don't have to alphabetize my books. I'm not a kook. And the bottom shelf is for the books I finished reading, organized chronologically.
Okay.
I don't have to alphabetize them. And the middle shelf is for the books I'm in the process of reading. Those are organized chronologically. When I start reading a book, I just move it from the top shelf to the middle shelf. And I know exactly what you're wondering. Well, wouldn't reading the title of the book count technically as being in the process of reading the book? Then how would you distinguish between the top shelf and the middle shelf? Well, the way I do it,
okay,
I make myself read all of page 1 before I allow a shelf change.
Okay.
I don't count the introduction or the foreword or the book jacket. I do read all of that word for word, but then I make myself read all of page 1, all the way to the bottom. Unless it ends in the middle of a sentence, I make myself turn the page I finish the sentence to complete the thought. I turn the page back. I write down what date that book was started. I move that to the middle shelf furthest on the right. I don't have to alphabetize my books. I'm not out of my mind. You know, when I first suspected that I might have OCD, I Googled it. And there are different symptoms. And some I have, and some I don't. And the ones I have, some I have more strongly than others. So I decided to make a color-coded graph.
Of course.
I wish I was making this up. I listed the symptoms, and I said I'm going to rate from 0 to 10 how strongly I feel I have each symptom. I'll total it up and divide it by the number of symptoms.
Okay.
If I'm higher than 5, I'll seek professional treatment. If I'm under 5, I'll self-diagnose that I am A-OK. Number 1, are you the type of person who has to check the stove over and over again to make sure it's off? And I'm like, 0? That's Looney Tunes land. Number 2, are you the type of person who has to wash your hands repeatedly? And I had this nagging feeling that I forgot to answer that first question.
Oh, yeah.
So I looked up. Yeah, I did write 0. Okay, hand washing. 6. I'm like, that ain't even right. I scribbled that out. I got some ink on my hands. I went to go wash my hands. While I'm washing my hands, I'm like, why did they mention stove? So I checked the stove. It was on. I'm like, I'm never going to make that mistake again. And I came back and I changed hand washing to 2. I did the whole test. It averaged 5.0. So I'm like, I still don't know. So I decided to buy a book about it. I got to get to the bottom of it somehow, right? I go into the bookstore. I asked the clerk, can you tell me where the self-help section is? And she said, why don't you try to find that yourself?
Oh,
well,
okay. Okay. I get it. Maybe he's making a joke, or maybe she was really just being an asshole. He's got to be making a joke. But honestly, some people really are buttholes that way. So, I mean, I've been listening to Crime Junkie like crazy lately, and they were talking about some stories where the 911 dispatcher would just hang up on the person that was calling for a real emergency. So, I can believe it. Okay. Sorry, that just, wow. Okay, so let me go back a little bit more. Nope. All right, try this again. It's almost done.
Yourself. Well, I finally found the section. It was so disorganized, I spent the next 3 hours rearranging all their books rather than finding out whether or not I have OCD. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's funny. That's funny. I mean, it's good to be able to make light of things like that, because OCD is really stressful, you guys. And not only is it stressful for the people who suffer, and I'm not saying that because they don't. I'm just referencing back to his little comment about that at the very beginning. But not only is it stressful for the people that have it, or concerning, or whatever the word was I used just a second ago. I forgot already. But it's also for the people who are observing it, loved ones of people who have to deal with that. It's a little distressing to see. And I don't know, it's kind of, sometimes it can be a little comedic, and you can make light of it. And then sometimes it really does trouble you to see that, or to see the extent that someone has to deal with it. And some people have it a little less than others. And some people are very, very severely afflicted with it to the point that it's crippling their life. And that's got to be I just can't imagine. I mean, I can imagine, because of my exposure to it with my son. His is not quite as bad as that, but certainly I can imagine what it would be like to have to deal with something like that and how frustrating it must be to understand that your mind is your own worst enemy, you know, but yet to find it very hard to break out of that cycle and to be able to sort of rein things in. And, I've heard things like cognitive behavioral therapy, that can be really, really beneficial and, very helpful to people who have to deal with OCD. I don't know a ton about it, but I've got some books that I recently got on Audible. And I know I said that I haven't been interested to listen to audiobooks for pleasure a lot lately, but I felt like those books were kind of important. So I got them for my son to listen to and me as well, just so I can understand it a little bit better. But anyway, if I'm assuming that he does have it, he's just, it's part of his little thing, It's just he's incorporating that into his comedy. I know that Howie Mandel has it pretty severely. I mean, some of the stories that he and his family have told, oh my goodness, just oof, rough, rough, I'll tell you. But anyway, well, this was funny. He's got kind of like a clean style of humor, which I already knew before I started watching it, just because of the limited exposure I had to him earlier. There was a video that was specifically recommended. Now I can't remember the title of it. I know it if I see it. But the reason that I didn't start off with that is because it is a long ass video, you guys. It's like a full 40 some minutes long. So I am trying to just get something watched so that I can put up something in the next few days as far as comedy related. But honestly, this is Halloween week, so I might end up holding this over until later. I don't know. Have to see. I am really in a Halloween mood. So having said that, I'm going to go ahead and proceed to the next thing I'm going to check out, which is a Halloween fan film or either a behind the scenes thing with this guy, Tommy Lee Wallace, I think is his name, who worked on how he came up with the whole thing with the mask, the whole idea of the Michael Myers mask. I think that'd be kind of interesting to check out. So, okay, you guys, later.